What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Kaiju Carnage. I am your host, Kaiju Guy. So, what's going on, everybody? Yep, this is gonna be my first, episode back, and it's also gonna be my first episode in which I'm doing a simultaneous recording for audio for my audio podcasters, as well as the video for YouTube and all of that stuff, because simply I'm just not tech savvy enough to be able to pull audio from a YouTube video. I've tried, and some of the things that I did find to be able to do it, I wasn't crazy about the audio quality, but I do like the audio quality of this here voice recorder app that I've got on my phone. And so I'm just going to be sticking with that. Going to be a short episode today. And so, yeah, this is pretty much going to be the method that I'm going to be doing moving forward. So, first things first that I'm going to talk about is that we got some big news yesterday at the time of this recording, in which the much anticipated sequel to Godzilla Minus One, which has been titled Godzilla Minus Zero, will officially release here in the United States on November 6th, 2026. So that's going to be towards the end of the year. You know, that's a long wait. Here we are in January. You know, obviously, we couldn't be more excited for it. You know, Godzilla Minus One was a massive success. I very much enjoyed Godzilla Minus One. I have many collectibles of Godzilla Minus One and all of that. And so, yeah, I'm very excited that a sequel was greenlit. Hopefully we get to see Godzilla go up against like some other kaiju and things like that. That would be pretty nifty. Next thing that I'm going to talk about is that, I don't really know how to jump into this one. You know what? You long-term audio listeners know how scatterbrained I can be and how I just kind of jump from thing to thing. You YouTube people, if you're new, here and you only really watch YouTube stuff and you haven't been listening to my audio podcast, you're not aware of that. But so I'm a detour just real quick. My daughter, this thing that I have to show is really just for the YouTube guys, but my daughter, who will turn 2 in February, has gotten to where she is a Godzilla fan. And as much as I would love to take credit for the fact that she's a Godzilla fan and say like, aha, I got my baby girl into wanting to watch, Godzilla and all that kind of stuff. It was really accidental. I didn't plan on it to happen. And so pretty much how it happened is, you guys know, you big fans out there know that Toho has been releasing some short films featuring Suitmation that generally is for like anniversary stuff, like they did one for the anniversary of Godzilla versus Hedorah, or Godzilla versus the Smog Monster, in which they had the Goji from Final Wars going up against Hedorah, and then they did another one where he went up against like classic Showa looking Gigan. That was a great video. They did one of him and fighting Jet Jaguar, and then he and Jet Jaguar teaming up to go up against King Ghidorah, like all that kind of stuff. It was really cool. And they've also done like the full on, I think they contracted these two out, in which they did like some total like CGI Godzilla stuff. Like they did one of Godzilla versus Gigan Rex, I believe is what it was called, and then they did another one of Godzilla versus Megalon. I did not care for Godzilla versus Gigan Rex. I just didn't like it. But I did very much enjoy the one where he went up against the big rematch between him and Megalon and all that. So anywho, in the next round of shorts that they're going to be doing, they've decided that they're going to go with the Millennium Goji. Specifically, the Goji that was featured in Godzilla 2000. And I had gone to work the day that this particular video released, and like whenever I got home, like I'm a stickler for whenever something like that is going to come out. I don't want to just sit there and watch it on my phone. Like I do want to say, like, man, I'm gonna wait until I get home and then watch it on my big TV, instead of just watching it on my phone. And so got home, told my wife like, hey, I'm gonna watch this new short and everything is supposed to feature like a burning Millennium Godzilla and all that. She didn't really understand what that meant. She didn't really care. But anywho, so I'm like, I'm gonna watch it. Well, my little girl is a daddy's girl, and so she's wanting to be glued into my lap. Like if I'm sitting down, she's got to be in my lap. If I'm just walking around the house, she's got to, be trying to climb all up on me and all that kind of stuff. And so she sat down in my lap whenever I sat down to watch this short. And so I started, and everything. And if you've seen it already, you kind of know how it begins. It begins with kind of like a little bit of a warning alarm, and you've got like two Japanese soldiers that are speaking to one another, and they're just kind of saying, like, no one else is here. Hey, let's go, and all that kind of stuff. And then it just shows the room, and you hear Godzilla taking footsteps, and he's getting closer and closer and closer. And when this happened, my daughter just straight up, she was locked onto the TV, and she just reached over, wrapped her arms around my chest, laid her head on my chest and everything, like she was kind of nervous. And whenever Godzilla's foot smashes the through the ceiling of that particular room slash building that they were in, it caused her to, she jumped. And so I was like, uh-oh, whenever she jumped, I thought I was about to lose her. And so didn't actually. And so she saw, we see then when we actually see Godzilla in the video, he's walking away and we see his dorsals, those big spiky purple dorsals that I love so much on this particular design for Goji. And so she started saying like, "Ooh, Godzilla!" She's been in the room. She's been in my room before, and she's seen a lot of like the Godzilla figures and stuff that I got, which I'm going to be talking about some new ones that I've gotten here lately, and the YouTube guys will actually get to see like the boxes and all of that kind of stuff. But like she knows what Godzilla is. She knows who Godzilla is. And so whenever she saw the video, she was pretty well hyped about it. And she watched that video from start to finish. And she loved it. And so now, it's like it's great that she's a Godzilla fan, but now it's to the point to where like, she's constantly pointing at the TV now, and she won't say Godzilla. She can only say Zilla. And so she's just pointing at the TV just about all the time, going Zilla, 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 and all that. It drives my wife up the walls. Like she can't stand it. But I'm over the moon. I'm a proud papa. So anywho, this originally happened like whenever the video first dropped and all of that. And so whenever Christmas was going to be rolling around, I have a number of Godzilla toys that were for like, Godzilla X Kong or Godzilla versus Kong that I had given her so that she could play with. And she would play with them. She has like a Godzilla Evolved and all of that from Godzilla X Kong, The New Empire. And she would play with them. She would kind of like them. But she would always like want to watch that video. And so finally, like it kind of clicked in my head. I was like, maybe I need to get her a toy of Godzilla that actually is of the Millennium Godzilla. And so I believed that I had remembered seeing some at my local Books A Million. And so I went over to Books A Million and I looked, they had rearranged in there. So it took me a little while to find the particular section, but I did eventually find it. And they had one left. And so I got it was like $24, and it's just this little itty bitty. It's got like freaking 5 points of articulation. The legs move, the arms kind of just rotate. They don't really move, they just kind of spread out. And then the tail. Well, you know what? The tail don't even move. So really, it's 4 points of articulation because the head doesn't twist or anything, but it is the Millennium Goji that we all know and love, especially like I love. I've always loved this particular design, and so I gave it to her for Christmas, and she was all about it, and so now she has it, and she plays with it, and she just really loves it, and so I'm a proud dad. I'm a proud papa. Like there's no doggone tomorrow, and everything. And so yeah, that's pretty cool. That I was able to get this for her. That she's as hooked on Big G as she is. I've started introducing her to Kong a little bit, in which she really likes, acting like an ape now. She'll sit there and beat her chest and and make like ape sounds like ooh ooh ah ah, and all that kind of stuff. Like she's all about Kong as well, and so that just makes me super super happy. So all right, pretty much the only other thing that I'm really going to talk about is some of the collectibles that I've gotten here lately. I did some little short videos and all of that, in which I'm going to post on TikTok of like getting them out of like the big bad toy store boxes and all that kind of stuff. But one figure that I got in particular that I'm pretty excited for is Godzilla Evolved from Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire. That's done by Hiya Toys. Very very excited about that. I was a big fan of Godzilla Evolved. I like the look. I know there was a bunch of people that did not too particularly care for the pink dorsals. I'm sorry, I'm not with you. I can't get with you on that. I like the design. I like the way the dorsals looked. I think the pink color was a very good color. And like, I mean, like I love the purple that's on the Millennium Godzilla. So, to me I'm just kind of like, why would I not like the pink that's on Godzilla Evolved? And yeah, that's just how I feel about it. So I like Godzilla Evolved. I like the design, and I'm very glad that I've got that action figure. So yep, moving on. The next action figure that I have is kind of just real quick sidestepping away from the kaiju stuff and everything. I've got the because you guys know I'm a big like comic book fan and all that stuff, and so I also collect like Marvel Legends and things like that. And I got the Gamerverse Juggernaut figure. And I'm not gonna lie, he lives up to his name. He is massive. I will say that he is very very large. The like at the time, the biggest Marvel Legends figure I had was the Gamerverse Venom. You YouTube guys can see him sitting right up there up top in between Batman and Superman's head from the Batman versus Superman Dawn of Justice poster that I have, or cardboard cutout really. But yeah, so he's freaking big, and so I got him because I'm a big fan of like Marvel and DC comics, and so I just wanted to get him and all that. So now moving along back to the kaiju stuff. Um, Another thing from Hiya Toys, I got a few of these are from Hiya Toys, but I got the Kong from Godzilla X Kong New Empire. This is supposed to be like an updated version of Kong that we had gotten, because like I don't know, he looks pretty cool. Comes in with the axe and all that kind of stuff. I'm always down to get more Kong stuff. So yeah, pretty happy to have gotten him. Now these next two, I'm particularly happy about. I got the again from Hiya Toys, and they are from the Heisei era of Godzilla toys. It is from 1991, Godzilla versus King Ghidorah, one of my favorite Godzilla films of all time, going up against my favorite Toho kaiju of all time, King Ghidorah. And it is the Hokkaido Heisei era Godzilla. I've got the battle version of just regular Godzilla and everything. I get, just looking at it from the box, I'm going to do a legit unboxing of them eventually. But just looking at him from the box, he looks like a pretty standard, like just Heisei era Godzilla. And so like maybe I'll take him out, and whenever I do, like I'll do a size comparison, because I do have an SH Monster Arts Heisei era Godzilla, the 1989 Godzilla versus Biollante Godzilla. And so maybe I'll do like a little side by side, like a little articulation thing with them and all that kind of stuff. Who knows? And then the last cool little collectible that I got is something from Mondo. It's Attack Peter. You guys know by now, if you long time listeners, I've been a big fan of Mondo and like the Attack Peter stuff that they've been coming out with and everything. I love Attack Peter's artwork. For all you YouTube guys, these are obviously still in boxes, and I will be doing unboxings of these eventually. But yeah, I was very happy to get that Attack Peter. It's pretty much the Attack Peter. You know, Attack Peter does like a lot of black and white figures and things like that. And so, like this was a color version of it. Like I believe the colors were like green and red or something like that. Very kind of like the colors are very similar. I can't remember exactly what it's called, like the jungle variant or something like that. I don't know. I can't remember. But anyway, whatever. You know, it looked cool, and you know, I'm irresponsible with my money, and so I went ahead and bought it and everything. And so yeah, that's pretty much all the new collectibles that I've gotten here lately. And so the last thing that I'm going to do is whenever I did my last audio podcast, if any of you people are here from there and you're watching me on YouTube, this is that Defo reel that I was talking about. That is a combination of Metal Greymon and the Millennium Godzilla. Easily one of my favorite collectibles of all time. So yeah, got that guy. Very, very happy to have him part of my collection. And yeah, so all right guys, that pretty much does it. Got a real short episode today and everything, not even 20 minutes long. So all right guys, thank y'all very much for tuning in. It's been fun. I'm glad that I'm back and all of that. I'm having a lot of fun trying to come up with new episodes that I'm going to be doing and all of that kind of stuff. Very much appreciate you guys sticking around. YouTube guys, thank y'all very much. Audio guys, thank y'all very much. Very, very happy to be back and everything. And I'm going to be covering a lot more like collectibles and things like that, and giving general like kaiju news and stuff. Don't really know if my schedule's going to be like putting out an episode a week, or if it's like going to be an episode like daily, every other day, or something like that. You know, I don't know. Who knows? We'll see whenever we get there. The fit for this video is a Daredevil t-shirt from Marvel Comics. So, alrighty guys, thank y'all once again. We'll catch y'all next time. This is Cal the Kaiju Guy signing out.